Godfall was a PlayStation 5 launch title, but thanks to the recent released Xbox Series X version, I'm now finally able to play this game in HDR. And just to prove a point, my PlayStation 5 is set to HDR on when supported. And as you can see, we are right now in the HDR picture mode. But as soon I'm going to start the game, my TV is changing into the SDR picture mode because there is no native HDR support in Godfall on the PlayStation 5. Let's talk about the Xbox Series X version and HDR. And right now I'm playing the game in Dolby Vision, but keep in mind there is no native support from Dolby Vision in this game. There's just a HDR 10 metadata and Dolby Vision is using the exact same information, but it does look great. So let's have a very quick look on the settings under video options or the video option menu. The only HDR setting what we have in the game is actually the HDR UI brightness setting, which is really just changing UI user interface objects on the screen, nothing else. So there is no brightness or maximum peak setting in the game. And because we don't have any HDR brightness or HDR peak brightness setting in the game, I was hoping for that this game is supporting the HDR calibration menu on the Xbox Series X, but unfortunately it does not. But I also have very great news. I haven't found any evidence of black level raise. There is literally nothing. OLED black is black. That means the contrast in this game is just superb. Awesome actually. This is how every single game should be mastered in HDR. So let's talk about the maximum peak brightness in this game, what I was able to find or what I found during all my testing. And just remember, keep in mind, there's no way that we can actually change this. We have no setting and the HDR game calibration menu on the Xbox Series X is unfortunately not supported. So at this very moment on this screen, I was able to, or the game likes to output 2420 nits, which of course is already way too much for the LGCX. In this case, very beginning of the game, it is 3600 nits, way too much for the LGCX. Here another case or another example, 2200 nits. So many more, but I like to keep this very short because again there's not much, there's actually nothing what we can do about. But just because we have a very high number of the maximum peak brightness, that doesn't mean that HDR can't look good. It is quite the opposite. I found HDR in Godfall actually very good. So to give you an idea what you can expect from Godfall on the Xbox Series X in native HDR over the PlayStation 5 with forced or fake HDR, just watch this. This is PlayStation 5 at the moment, dynamic tone mapping on, forced HDR. Again, PlayStation 5 version does not support native HDR. This is the picture what you get. And when you do this, when you force HDR on non-supported HDR games, you must or you should use dynamic tone mapping on. Otherwise, with dynamic tone mapping off or HGIG, you end up with the same brightness as in SDR. So there's no advantage at all. So anyway, this is fake HDR on the PlayStation 5, and now this is the Xbox Series X version in Dolby Vision at this very moment. And I mean, that's a difference like day and night, to be very honest. And just keep in mind, it is not just about maximum brightness in HDR, because this is way brighter at this very moment compared to the Xbox Series X version, but this just doesn't look good. The contrast, there's almost no contrast. The colors are awful compared to the Xbox Series X version. I mean, have a look here. This is proper HDR and it does look good, and Dolby Vision is absolutely to recommend in this game. And if you're still not convinced why you should buy the Xbox Series X version over the PlayStation 5 version, and believe me, it is not just because of HDR in this game, which looks amazing on the LGCX, but yeah, there are different other topics what I like to raise. Godfall, Xbox Series X version versus the PlayStation 5 version, but this will be a separate video. In this video we're just talking about HDR, but if you're still not convinced, then watch this. And before I show you what is the maximum peak brightness, what I was actually able to measure in this game, let me just kill this guy here. And you can see a lot of very nice effects here on the screen. And again, HDR is just amazing in my opinion. So let me just have a look here. So Dolby Vision, I was able to measure Dolby Vision with a maximum peak brightness of 680 candela on my LG ZX. 680 candela. Dynamic tone mapping on 623 candela, so 50 candela less or compared to Dolby Vision. Dynamic tone mapping off 630 candela. HGHE 668 candela. So I have to say, and this is a little bit, it was a little bit hard to measure always exactly the same spot, but I gave my best and this is what I came up with. So dynamic tone mapping on is not the best choice in this game because it appears to me you end up with the lowest maximum peak brightness on the screen, real brightness. Okay, so Dolby Vision again is not just better in colors, sometimes it is also much better in terms of the maximum peak brightness. I mean, this is just amazing. Look at this. This is so bright. It really almost hurts my eyes. And here this was the actually the location where I measured all my maximum peak brightness. And again, Dolby Vision is just so much better in this game. So what I have done also is I made a very long video around 15 minutes and I compared Dolby Vision versus HDR versus dynamic tone mapping on versus fake HDR on the PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. So you can find this video or the comparison video at the end from this video, because I don't want to actually bother you too much with this, but it is actually worth to watch it. You have seen in my little comparison already a couple of examples from this very long video, but do me the favor, and if you like to support my channel, then watch the whole video, because this is just good for my channel. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this video. And if you're wondering yourself why I haven't shown anything in terms of HDR10 dynamic tone mapping on or HDR, because I don't like it. I find, or I think, I truly believe that Dolby Vision in this game is just much better because of the very high peak brightness in this game. And Therefore, Dolby Vision has a little bit of an advantage compared to HDR10. So this game is, in my opinion, worth to play if you can find it in a, let's say like this, yeah, maybe a budget or whatever. I wouldn't pay $70 or something like that for this game, but maybe $30, $40, it is absolutely worth it. I had a lot of fun on the PlayStation 5, and yeah, it is even better on the Xbox Series X with, spoiler alert, verbal refresh rate and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And of course HDR. So again, do me the favor, watch the whole video. You will now see the 15 minutes comparison between Dolby Vision, HDR, and so on and so on. And of course, as always, please like, share and subscribe. And I will do more content about Godfall, Xbox Series X version versus the PlayStation 5 version in, yeah, soon, okay? Because there is a difference between those versions, not just in relation to HDR, okay? Thank you very much for watching me. I see you guys next time.